Hello and welcome to another Nikke video. Cinderella's kit is finally out and I'm going to analyze her kit and see how she plays out. Will she be the unit everyone was waiting for? Let's find out. And here is Cinderella from the Squad Old Tales. Her type is Defender, her burst skill is 3, weapon rocket launcher, code electric. And for her ammo, she actually has a lot of ammo. Usually the defaulted ammo for rocket launchers is usually 9 and she has 24 ammo there. Not only that as well, she has a unique mechanic too, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. Which let me go ahead and move on to the first skill, which is skill 1, Flawless Glass. It's a passive. Activates when entering burst skill stage 3, affects self. Attack up 2.71% of caster's final max HP for 10 seconds. Activates when attacking with full charge, affects self. Charge speed up 100%. Removed upon reloading to max ammunition. Activates when hitting a target with full charge, affect the target. Deals 136.6% of final attack as additional damage. Alright, so looking at the first line of skill 1 here, pretty much what's going to happen is that she's going to get a small boost here. It's only 2.71. So luckily it is final max HP, and actually she gets a lot of max HP for her kit. I'll explain a little bit more as we get there. But please do remember, it's only for 10 seconds, so it's not a long time. So as soon as those 10 seconds are over, she will go ahead and lose this right away. Also, please keep in mind that she gets this attack up as soon as the burst stage 3 starts. Basically, whenever you choose whatever burst 3 you want to do, that's when this attack up happens. Just keep that in mind. And for the second line here, since Cinderella has a very unique shooting mechanic here, basically how she works, whenever she has a full charge, what's going to happen is that she's going to get this buff here where charge speed goes 100, and actually she shoots very fast. Yeah, and only that, she's going to retain that charge speed for the duration of the full charge. So all you got to do is just hold the button down, or even that full auto is going to do the same thing anyways, where pretty much she's going to keep shooting all these 24 shots. So yeah, she's going to be doing that a lot of times. Only that, she's going to be shooting very fast thanks to this charge speed there. And then for the third line here, pretty much every time she hits with a full charge attack, which is pretty much going to be her standard there, she's going to have an additional attack there. And since right now by default she has 24, obviously you could get more with different Nikkes. Not only that, with overloaded gear, also with cubes as well, you could get way more than 24. I'm only going to do this by defaulted though. So if you happen to hit all 24 shots there, you pretty much get a total of 3,278.40% damage there. Basically, you're doing this additional damage for free with every single charge damage. And yeah, that is very, very lovely to have. Also, please keep in mind that's with final attack, and thanks to that first line there, that's going to directly benefit the additional damage there. So yeah, it's pretty much going to have 2 damage in 1 with every single shot she does. Alright, up next is skill 2, Dirt Resistant Mirror. It's also a passive. Activates at the start of battle, affects self. Decoy creates an avatar with 96% of caster's final max HP continuously. Activates when entering burst skill stage 3, affects self. Decoy creates an avatar with 96% of caster's final max HP continuously. Activates when Decoy exists, affects self for 3 seconds. Beautiful status, max HP up 1.6% continuously, stacks up to 12 times. Alright, for the first and second line, they pretty much do the same thing. So as soon as you enter battle, she's going to immediately put a decoy. And then as soon as the burst skill stage 3 initiates, so that's even without her bursting, or pretty much anybody could burst, what's going to happen is she's going to create another decoy there. So I'm pretty sure it's going to go override whatever decoy was there and just put a brand new 96% of final max HP there. And also for the big thing here is going to be on the third line here. It says activates when decoy exists. So pretty much as soon as the battle starts or as the battle continues, pretty much what's going to happen is she's going to get a max HP up 1.6, and that is 12 times for a total of 19.2% of max HP added to her stats. And thanks to that as well, what's going to happen is that it's actually going to boost the first line of skill 1, the attack up. It's actually going to increase that even more since pretty much it works off final max HP there. Also, please keep in mind that she has to have these decoys up as well. So if she does not happen to have the decoy, she will not get these stacks. And how you get these stacks is pretty much having the decoy up, and that's it. So pretty much every 3 seconds she will get 1. So pretty much looking at the total here, you're going to be looking at about 36 seconds she will have max stacks. But right here, it does not say how her stacks go away. So I don't know if she's going to have them permanently up, or whenever she loses the decoy, she loses her stacks, or maybe she absorbs them. It doesn't really say here how she loses them, only how she gains them. But pretty much as long as she has a decoy up, you're going to be getting those stacks. But also as well, please keep in mind too that, you know, there are a lot of strong raptures that could pretty much, destroy the shields no problem, which would pretty much be a decoy there. So if they happen to hit Cinderella, luckily Cinderella won't die, only the decoy will. But if it happens to die, you know, you're going to have to wait until pretty much another burst 3 initiates. in order for her to get the decoy up again. But also as well, don't worry that the decoy does not produce a taunt. So usually the kit itself has to say, and since there's nothing in the kit that says she's going to be taunting, yeah, so the decoys are safe. It's mostly about just keeping the decoys as much HP as possible, or if not, just getting one already ready for the next burst there. Lastly, her burst skill, Glass Slippers, Full Contact, and it's a 40-second cooldown. Affects random enemies, deals 682.96% of final attack as damage, attacks sequentially for 10 times. Affects the same target when in beautiful status. Deals 28.9% of final attack as additional damage. Mirrors the stat count of beautiful. Alright, so looking at the first line here, pretty much what's going to happen is she's going to attack 10 times here, and how it says sequentially, pretty much is going to go, let's say there's like 10 enemies on the field, it's going to go one after the other there. That's how that's going to work. And pretty much is going to be a total of 6,829.60% damage there. But also as well, if there's not any other enemies on the field, most likely all these are going to hit the same enemy 10 times, which is going to be a lot of damage for one enemy there. On top of that, with her having the attack up, which unfortunately is very, very small. That's the only downside since it's 2.71. There are a few other abilities in her kit that buff up her damage a bit, but of course it is a very small upgrade there. But also as well, please keep in mind too that if you're actually in the beautiful status, which is pretty much getting those stacks whenever the decoys are up, she will be doing these little tiny damage as well, which is going to be 28.9 there. But also, luckily, it's going to be depending on how many stacks you have. So if your max stacks at 12 there, you're going to be pretty much looking at 346.8% of additional damage there that you're pretty much going to get for free. So basically, combining both of those, if you happen to hit one enemy only, it's going to be about 7,176.40% of damage there, all for free. So basically, if that's only for one enemy, you know, it really depends on the boss. I mean, there's some bosses that only fight solo. There's other bosses that only really, you know, basically have additionals there, like for example, Mother Whale. Yeah, so it's going to really depend on what boss you're facing to see how well it's going to be producing. You know, how well she's going to be doing against that boss. But yeah, if it's going to be doing a lot of damage there. And also, please keep in mind for some of the downsides for the burst there is you can't choose what enemies, you know, you're going to do there for the attack. It's pretty much going to pick it there automatically. And if there's a lot of enemies on the field, I mean, that's still pretty good damage, 682. Unfortunately, there's some other Nikkes in the game that do more of that, you know, just like basically with one burst. But even then, she pretty much attacks 10 times, so that's still pretty good in itself there. Now, for my final thoughts. Looking at Cinderella's overall kit, yeah, she's looking like she's going to be a really strong Nikke. I really wish the attack up was much more higher than that, the 2.71. I feel it's very, very low, even though it is final max HP, and there's a lot of things in her kit here, especially with the skill 2 of the last line there that pretty much gonna really upping her max HP. Unfortunately, you got to remember though, everything's going to be funneled through that 2.71% there, and all that as well. It's only for 10 seconds. As soon as the 10 seconds is over, she's pretty much going to lose that attack up there. She will keep the max HP up thanks to the beautiful status here with the stacks and everything else. Luckily, she will be keeping, you know, she's going to be keeping the charge speed as long as she pretty much has a lot of max ammo, which pretty much she has 24 by default. As soon as you start putting more overloaded gear, you know, other Nikkes helping, stuff like that, you're going to get way more than 24. So not only that, you're going to be doing a lot more, basically these additional hits with a full charge there. And also as well is that unfortunately her whole kit here, she is very selfish. Yeah, her whole kit only really affects herself. There's nothing here that actually helps the allies at all. And also since she is a defender, basically the only thing she really has in terms of defender would be the decoy there. But even then, there is no taunting or anything like that. So it's pretty much even with the decoys, you're going to want them to be up as much as possible to go ahead and pretty much get her beautiful status up, basically at full stacks there at 12. And again, for her burst here, yeah, I mean, her burst is pretty strong if it hits all one enemy, since pretty much on top of doing that 10 hits for one enemy, you're going to do the additional damage as well. But again, the downside is that if you're hitting multiple enemies, even though it's going to deal a lot of damage, it's only be for 10 times, which like looking at her burst, you're pretty much going to want this to be concentrated on one enemy. So then that way you can just quickly whittle them down. Which, you know, which should be pretty good for bosses if you could like face those enemies one bosses. But even then, she would still be pretty good, you know, for multiple enemies. But of course, if there's more than 10 enemies on the field, which is pretty much possible depending on what stage you are, sometimes there's like way more than 10, sometimes they get like 20, 30, depending on some stages there. Yeah, so unfortunately, this won't hit every single enemy on the field. It's going to hit 10 and then it's going to stop. So yeah, also keep that in mind for the burst there. But yeah, even with all that in mind, I still feel she is very, very strong here. Everything's leaning more towards being a boss here, since she's going to be really, really helpful for a boss, thanks to just how much power she's going to have. And again, I just wish the attack up was way higher than 2.71. I just feel that is very, very, very small there. And also as well, she has this unique mechanic too, which unfortunately won't allow her to shoot fast. Since, you know, with a lot of the rocket launchers, you want to shoot fast in order to build up that burst gauge, which for this one, you know, you can't do that quick shot that a lot of the other units do. But luckily, since she has that 100% charge speed, as soon as she's all fully revved up and good to go, she's going to be shooting very fast. But before that, she's going to be charging really slow unless you happen to put like some charge speed in order to get her up to speed before she gets a full charge there. And yeah, in terms of if you should pull for her or not, looking at all this, I really think you should pull for her. Just like I already said, I think she's a very, very strong unit. You know, but of course, you know, it's looking more like she's going to be a bossing unit. But even then, she would help on normal stages. But of course, how I already said, it really depends on how many enemies are on the field, since that is going to affect how well she's going to perform there. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be seeing her, you know, for other modes as well, maybe like Union Raid and Solar Raid, since pretty much the next Solar Raid boss is going to be electric. And luckily, there's a lot of good electric units in the game. For example, Summer Anise, there is Ein, Guillotine, Scarlet. And only that, there's also some good supporters as well. There's Rouge and Mast as well. That would actually help out with Cinderella there, especially with Rouge, since she helps out with HP and attack, and also Mast as well too. So yeah, there's a lot of good units that I could actually pretty much help Cinderella, no problem. But of course, you know, it's only time will tell, since they're going to be doing a lot of experimenting to see, you know, what's going to be like the perfect team for Cinderella. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you happen to pull on her banner, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, her banner is going to be 1%. So yeah, they're usually they're very difficult to get. If not, luckily, if you don't happen to get them and you happen to have enough golden tickets, just go to the shop and just immediately get her. You know, that way you can just have the Pilgrim. Because you got to remember that as soon as the banner leaves, it goes back to the normal Pilgrim pool. And even though you could get a Pilgrim during the normal pools, just getting this specific Pilgrim becomes even tougher, since there's more and more Pilgrims being added into the game over time. And yeah, that's about it. I would love to hear your thoughts on Cinderella. Are you going to happen to pull on this unit? I mean, do you happen to feel the same way I do? And if not, that's okay. I would still love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give me a like and a sub. I would really appreciate it. Alright, I'm Scrublord, and I'll see you in the next video.